Why can't I go somewhere on the internet and figure out everything I need to know about hunting?
It's like if you weren't local, you wouldn't know.
You would have no idea. We started building an online platform of information source, just like a Zillow for homes or Cars.com for cars. It's been done in every other industry on the planet.
I always describe it as like a choose your own ending book. You can like choose your own criteria you want to narrow it down to, and those tools I think are so powerful.
Him and I both, our favorite style of hunting, although he's in way better shape than me, is backpack hunting. He can hike a lot better than me, a lot faster than me, but I still love it. It's my favorite form of hunting by far, hands down, not even a question.
So yeah, people are like, oh, I can draw these tags, but like really you can draw them, but could you hunt them?
It doesn't take hunters to get this done. It takes hunters and technology people to get this done.
Y'all ready for your dose of flyover state spirit? Straight from the concrete jungle? Well, put down your latte and pull on your boots. It's time for Living Country in the City.
Hey y'all, welcome to episode 59 of Living Country in the City. I want to say a big thank you to the fine folks over at Sawyer Products for helping make this podcast possible. You know, they're huge supporters of what I do here at Living Country in the City, and I'm a big user of their products. I absolutely love their water filtration systems and their bug sprays. A lot of great products, and they're a household name for a reason. They've been doing this for a long time. Head on over to their website, check them out at sawyer.com. You can also find them on my partners page at livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. Also, now that we're coming up on spring turkey season, I want to make sure y'all know about my good buddies over at T3 Custom Game Calls, formerly Talkin' the Talk Custom Calls. These guys are turkey fanatics, and they are complete purists when it comes to their calls. You know, I guarantee you won't find anyone that puts more attention into detail and consistency than the guys over at T3. You know, each call is hand-built from choice, specifically selected cuts of wood, and they can even set you up with custom orders and designs by request. Now, you may say to yourself, you know, the plastic pot call I picked up from Walmart yelps and birds just fine. Why should I spend the money on a premium turkey call? Well, here's the deal. If you're a musician, you might pick up the bargain basement guitar to initially practice with, but when it comes time to get serious and perform, you're really going to want a premium instrument that makes a premium sound. And as a turkey hunter, this is your instrument. And you know, let's face it, the better your instrument sounds, the more toms you're going to call within range. So check them out at t3calls.com, and as listeners of the podcast, get 10% off all orders placed on the website through the end of March by using code LIVINGCOUNTRY. So, getting on to the show, I just recently got back from the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo out in Salt Lake City. It was an amazing time getting to catch up with former guests and friends and really make some great connections. I also hammered out a pile of podcasts for y'all while I was out there, so you'll be hearing a ton of these throughout the coming weeks. Now, we are right in the middle of it, y'all. A few of the deadlines have already passed, but it is tag application season. Now, I've got a lot of people hitting me up and asking where I'm applying, where I think they should apply, and asking my strategies for putting in and building points. And now I really don't have any fantastic insight or special knowledge or anything to this regard. I just really try and utilize every tool that I have at my disposal and talk with really smart folks who have been doing this for a lot longer than I have. And so I got a chance at Hunt Expo to sit down with Lorenzo Sartini and Brady Miller of GoHunt to talk about what GoHunt is and really go through the basics of how to go about selecting states and units and building points and drawing tags. So let's get into it, and I hope you all find some really good info from this episode. All right, well, we are here hanging out at the Western Hunting and Conservation Expo. I don't know, I always call it Hunt Expo. I always forget what the full name is.
We just call it the Western Hunt Expo.
Western Hunt Expo,
yeah.
So that works. Hanging out here in the GoHunt booth with Mr. Lorenzo Sartini and Brady Miller of GoHunt. Thought we'd talk a little bit about drawing tags today. We also got the Instagram Live going here, so we'll see how that turns out. If anybody's got any questions, we'll see if those pop up. But one thing I always like to start with is just a little bit about yourselves, maybe the quick version of kind of how did you get started in hunting and the outdoors?
You want to go first? Go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. So yeah, I'm Brady Miller. Currently the digital content manager at GoHunt. Basically, getting in the outdoors, you know, it's kind of like a lot of people. I mean, maybe not, but, you know, my dad was a big hunter, so I was always, you know, every day just, like, watching him come home with animals, come home with trips, bringing photos, like, showing, hey, look what I just did. And I always thought that was super, super cool. And I always went out west to do it. And he was big in the Midwest, too, but I was always like that Western push that I was always so excited about. And that's why, like, I was like, oh, I got to get out west someday. I got to get west. And, like, So growing up in the hunting family was awesome. I got to learn a lot, but I was like, man, I need to get out west and learn stuff I've never done before, which is how I got, addicted to hunting mule deer and everything. So it's just, a lot because of him, and just love outdoors, love adventure and hiking, and then taking photos. So hunting and all that just works out really well for me and meshes together, and won't have it any other way.
There you go. Lorenzo?
So I actually have a pretty interesting background of how I got into hunting, because I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, born and raised, lived there my entire life. So I grew up in the city, one of the biggest cities, craziest cities there is. My family is in business background in the, Las Vegas Valley. Been in the casino industry for a long time, which doesn't necessarily lend itself, conducive to hunting. You catch a lot of flack for it in a place like Vegas and that kind of an industry. But my family did hunt. It came from my Uncle Heath, which my dad's dad and his dad were brothers. So it's my dad's first cousin, but I call him my Uncle Heath. He grew up as my dad's brother his whole life. He grew up as my uncle my whole life. And he's the one that basically got us all into hunting. His father homesteaded some land in Utah. He was from Southern California, was a businessman down in Southern California, but always had the calling to go to the mountains. He was a big bird hunter. That's what he loved to do most. He was a duck hunter and all this stuff. Being from the San Joaquin Valley in California, well, he wanted to shoot the big stuff. So he found Utah, and he just kept traveling out there. And he retired at a very young age after his business, and basically got a big piece of property homesteaded a big piece of property in southern Utah. And that's where our family started hunting. So ever since I was, old enough to open my eyes, my dad and my uncle were taking me and my brother and cousins and all of us out on the property and shooting deer, So I've been around it my whole life, and that's where it came from.
There we go. So grew up hunting,
Yep.
Got involved in all that. Where did this concept for GoHunt come from?
So, I grew up around hunting, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I did it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I said, my family was big in the big into business, so they didn't have a lot of time to go in the outdoors. This little time that they did, we would go, and they would, take me with them before I was old enough to hunt. And I'd go on 1 or 2 hunts a year with my dad, and then when I was old enough to hunt, I would go on 1 or 2 hunts myself. But I grew up in an athletics background, so I went to a college prep school in Vegas for football. Was very competitive in football, and obviously football's during the fall. Can't hunt very much. So growing up through high school, I would just always beg my dad, just take me somewhere after the season. I don't care what it is. I just want to go hunting. That's all I want to do. So, usually the season was over around Thanksgiving at some time, and he'd take me to Texas or New Mexico or, all these places with weird oddad hunts and things, and because that was all I was really able to do. And I would draw some tags every now and then, some youth tags in Nevada, but that's only one tag, and I'd only be able to hunt for 3 or 4 days before I had to be back to football practice. If I missed too many days of practice, coach would kill me and I wouldn't play.
Oh yeah.
So, I loved hunting. It's all I ever wanted to do, but I was not necessarily stuck because I did choose to play athletics at a very high level, but that's what I did. So I originally took a football scholarship to the University of Montana, and when I was there, I had some really bad shoulder, head and neck issues, bad concussions and things like that, and my knee was messed up, and my body isn't very good at staying healthy in a contact sport. It never was. I was hurt from a young age. I have a lot of friends that, made it to the highest level of football in the NFL, never had an injury a day in their life, and I was getting hurt in high school. So right there I kind of knew, my body's not going to be able to hold up against this stuff. So I went against I went with my better judgment and decided not to play after a couple more concussions. And when I was there, I had all this free time. For the first time in my life, I had all this free time in the fall. Never had it before. And I'm sitting there going, man, now that I have all this free time, I live in a state like Montana. I'm going to school here. Being a student, I have tons of free time. How can I just go hunting? I just want to go hunting. I know Montana, all these locals here. He actually went to University of Montana as well. All the locals there hunt, and I was seeing all this hunting. I'm like, okay, that's what I want to go do. Every day I want to go hunting. It was unbelievable how hard it was to find the hunting opportunities in Montana. We grew up with the web-based world, right? Everything's on the web. Every single thing is on the web. Why isn't hunting on the web? Why can't I go somewhere on the internet and figure out everything I need to know about hunting?
It's like if you weren't local, you wouldn't know.
You would have no idea. And that's what I picked up on was the only way I learned how to hunt in Montana and learned the combo deer elk tags that were guaranteed back then. They're not anymore. But the only way I learned was I infiltrated this network of hunters. Luckily, you attract the same kind of people, same hobbies, and I got into it and figured out, okay, this is how you hunt Montana. All right, well, now I want to go hunt Idaho. Well, how come I can't find? World. Yeah, how come I can't find anybody? I didn't go to school in Idaho. None of the Montana guys knew Idaho. But I'm sitting there going, well, this is the first time I've ever had an entire fall opened up. I don't want to go hunting for 2-3 weeks. I want to literally go hunting every day for 3 months. So I had to figure out Idaho, and through this process, I just could not believe how hard it was to find the opportunities. The states definitely don't make it easy on people. It was, and I was raised around hunting, and I still couldn't figure it out.
You need a specific degree to figure out those hunting regulations.
I agree.
For a normal person to read through a regulation book and decipher what's what,
and understand it, and understand what they're saying and how it all works and how you get the tags and all these things. So anyways, I spent my personal time doing that, and I figured out the states on my own. I figured out some really good opportunities on my own. It's not like I was slaving away over it or anything, but I found this information, and my buddies in Montana, and when I graduated, some friends that I stayed friends with, I started giving them opportunities that I had found, and they were all happy that they could go hunting more. Well, I was back working for the family business in the casino industry, and I love the industry. It's been phenomenal for my family. It's blessed us with a lot of things that we've been able to do, like start a business. So I don't have anything bad to say about it, but I just didn't want to be a part of it. I wanted to be in the hunting industry, and I was going to do whatever it took to get there. So with the business background of my family, I just kind of started having these meetings of, asking my dad, my uncles, what can we do? What is there? How, where can I transition this and demonetize it, this information that is impossible to find? How can we get this all in one spot? Well, at the time, we were doing online poker, and we were around a lot of online guys who understood the web-based world, right? So found Chris Porter, who was working for the family on the online poker side, and I basically recruited him to hunting. I'm like, look, it's wide open. The space is wide open for a business online. There's nothing out there. Literally, there's not one online resource that somebody from New York to Los Angeles, California can get on at the same time and understand what the opportunities are in hunting. So from that day forward, we started building an online platform of information source, just like a Zillow for homes or apartments.com for apartments or cars.com for cars. It's been done in every other industry on the planet. There's no, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a travel agent anymore, unless some guy wants to just waste money on a travel agent, right? But there's no such thing as spending money on travel agents anymore, because everything's gone information sourced on the web. So that's what we wanted to do for hunting. And
it's funny. You bring up Zillow, and my buddy, one of my coworkers, Samson, he's the one that introduced me to GoHunt, and we've always talked about it, where you need to have some sort of SDK that you can release that Zillow can tie into. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking for homes, there's a tag draw thing, so that your likelihood of drawing tags as a resident, if you buy a home in that unit, so that needs to be your next product
if
release.
If I can get Zillow to do that, I'm all for it. Residency is a big deal. That's a very, very big deal in the hunting world. So, but yeah, and then after we kind of did that, and Chris and I set out to build this business model of what it was going to be, then the domino started falling with, finding Brady Miller. I actually found him through Instagram. Recruited him pretty hard to come down to Vegas, got him to move to Vegas. And then we just kind of kept hiring more technology people and more hunters, and we've grown this company now where half are hunters, unbelievable hunters. Brady, Trail, Brandon Evans, Seth, phenomenal hunters. And then we have the technology side, which they are phenomenal technology people and understand all the intricacies of technology. Well, it's cool to sit in a meeting and watch the hunters look at the tech people, and the tech people respect the shit out of them for what they do. And then they'll look at the tech people building what they're asking for, and they respect the shit out of them because they're actually building what they want. So it creates this really cool culture inside the office of, it doesn't take hunters to get this done. It takes hunters and technology people to get this done. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, what we have a very special thing with is our mix of hunters and technology
You need
people.
to grab ideas from other sources and put them into one. Like,
exactly.
We all can't just think about ourselves, I feel like. And so it's like we mesh
one mind,
so good.
There's no way one mind can come up and think about everything. There's no way.
Well, it's just like so many of the good ideas that now as hunters we look at and are like, oh, of course I use trekking poles or something like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case for a long time.
No,
you take that from hiking or skiing or this or that or the other. And
puts
so
the
many
body in four-wheel drive. It's awesome.
I mean, a good idea is a good idea regardless of where it comes from. And, I think people tend to forget that and will discount things. Okay, just because, maybe you don't know the hunting industry, but you know this portion that touches it. And, no, it's super important for people to keep in mind. So the reason I wanted to have you guys on is, tag draw season. We're kind of starting in hot and heavy with it. I think we got Arizona's coming up in a couple of days as of what's today,
it's
February 9th.
5 days.
Tuesday, I think, right?
13th, yep.
Yeah.
And I know I'm putting in for my tags in Arizona. I'm gonna get that strip tag. It's my second year putting in. I've got that
you
1 point.
actually have a chance now, though. After 2 years ago when they changed the draw process, you actually have a chance.
Yeah, and so that's what it is. These the draw processes and regulations and bonus points and preference points and multiple animals and states, and it is confusing. It's overwhelming, especially when you're talking to someone like me that is no background in it. I make it very, very clear that I know absolutely nothing, and I just like talking to very smart people. And I look at this. It's like, okay, it's one thing. You want to stay in your home state. You want to just do something, hunt over the counter. Like in California, I can get my hunting license. I can get some pig tags. I can get some bear tags. There's plenty of over the counter stuff for deer. It's not the best hunting, but you do that. You can go get your tags. Good to go. You don't have to think about anything. You want to do pretty much anything past that. You want to go out of state. You want to hunt elk. You want to just hunt a lot of these fun, interesting, big animals. Suddenly goes from a very low level of complexity. There's no middle ground there.
And it all needs a lot of planning,
too.
It's
just like anything in government. There is absolutely zero consistency. None whatsoever. So they make it as hard as possible for the normal individual to understand the differences between all the states, because the states have literally zero consistency to each other. Like, you can go from California to Nevada to Arizona, and even though they all touch each other, Nevada's in the middle, they're all extremely wildly different on how you get the tag.
How you get
crazy.
The tags, how they even report the data.
How you
report
the data is
chaotic,
different.
and we don't have data for this. We don't know where it's at. It's in this folder way down in the basement, locked away. It's
unbelievable.
So hard to get things.
How inconsistent the government is. It's unbelievable.
And to some extent, I understand some of the reasoning behind it, because you do have wildly different populations and they need to be managed in different ways. But
the animals need to be managed in different ways, not the tags and regulations. Like,
something
crazy.
Something's got to get a little bit of consistency.
How you get the tag should have some consistency to it. But like, if you want to look at it as an overview, you basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Brady, but you have 3 different styles of drawing tags. You have one lottery system that is just complete blind luck, total lottery system, no preference points, bonus points, one ticket in. Everybody has one ticket in. It goes around in a big drum, and they pull a name out, and it's like the Powerball lottery, Everybody's got a ticket in. Then you have bonus points, which are every year that you don't draw a tag, you get a bonus point, which means the next year you have 2 entries into the drawing. The next year you'll have 3 entries in the drawing. The next year 4. So really you would have better odds than the guy who just came in and started trying to do it with 1. And then you have states that have preference points, which are preferred points, right? Where you earn, every year that you don't draw a tag, you earn a preference point, and you are preferred over everyone else. Mm-hmm. So you get into these tag drawings that have preferred point bases. So like, if you have 8 preferred points, and that's the cutoff of drawing, everyone who has 8 points is going to get the tags and nobody below it. So you literally have no chance, which is what Arizona used to be. Well, now they have a bonus aspect, which is why I say you could draw the strip tag, because 50% of the tags go to the highest preference points, and then 50% of the tags go bonus, right?
Go in the In the random pass.
In the random pass. So, like, now you actually do have a chance, which is cool that they did that. But, like, just something like that is – now Arizona has this other little nuance to it that's just wildly different than everywhere else. It's crazy.
The big problem, I think, though, is, like, so you have guys who want to go out of state. They're like, hey, I want to hunt mule deer in Colorado someday. But, like, they don't go in and learn about it right now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, oh, now this – hey, next year me and you want to go hunt Colorado. But all of a sudden someone's like, wait, you needed to have points for that state. Like, I didn't have points in California, for instance. I could go over the counter. If you didn't know that, now you wasted all that time thinking, I'm going to go hunt Colorado in 5 years, but you never bought those points.
Yeah, exactly.
And applied and knew what the draw system was like. You wasted a lot of time in your life when you needed to get the information in your hand ahead of time. It's all about getting it now and figuring out what you want for your 5-year thing. Because everyone wants to go hunting in the future, but it's like you need to know the points. You need to know the preference points. Is it random? Like,
I'm a firm believer, too, that a hunting lifestyle is the purest form of living on the planet, no matter what level you do it with. But it brings everybody back to ground zero. You start to respect the world in a different way, start to view the world in a different way when you're out there with animals and see things and understand the respect it takes to harvest a life. And, like, it's a lot. It's the purest form of living. So I think even, like, the PETA people want to go hunting to a certain extent because it's, it's innate human nature that you want to provide for yourself. So everybody wants to go hunting. But what a lot of people don't understand is the work at home, behind a desk, behind a computer screen, is vastly more important than actually, like, going hunting. Because if you don't do that, then you'll never go hunting. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, you will never go hunting if you don't put the research time in to understand the states, the species, the things that you want to go after, and how legally you're going to go do that,
Yeah. So say someone like me, last year, 2 years ago, I decide, I've been getting into guns. I've been getting into shooting my bow, and I'm like, I'm hearing about elk and deer and mule deer and all these things that I never knew. I always thought, just rich people do this, and that's what you do after you've been hunting for 50 years. Otherwise, you sit in a tree stand and you wait for whitetail to walk by, and I heard about this. I'm like, okay, I'm ruined forever now. But so say somebody like me comes up and is like, okay, I heard about elk. I watched this Randy Newberg or Steven Ranella or something on Instagram, and I am obsessed with these animals. I know I want to go hunt elk. I'm from California. What do I do now? I got my hunting license. I don't even know what state I want to hunt in. Where do I start?
So first comes first, get your hunter safety. If you're born after, I think it's like 1961 or 62, got to get your hunter safety. And the hunter safety in whatever state you live in is applicable in all the other states for the most part, I believe. All the western states for sure. I don't know East very well. We only deal in the West. But all the 14 western states, if you get a hunter safety in one state, it'll equate to all the other states. That's number one absolute, because you can't do anything unless you have that hunter safety number. You can't apply in the lottery system. Now, GoHunt comes along.
I was going to say, feel free to make as many shameless product plugs as you want, because I am obsessed with GoHunt.
Absolutely. And this is why it was built. Like, the mindset of, like, holy shit, my friends really appreciate this. Like, there's got to be more people that want the ease of information like this. Why can't they go just somewhere and do it, right? So that's why we built it. And so along comes GoHunt.com, the insider program that we have, and you can go through any and every state you want, whether, lay out what you're looking for. What's most important to you? Is it logistics? Do you want it as close to home as possible? Do you want it as affordable as possible? Or are you just, I want to kill an elk. Like, I want to kill an elk with my bow. I don't care where I have to travel, what I have to do, but I want to start hunting elk and I want to kill one. Well, Colorado has over-the-counter tags guaranteed every single year. You can go hunt elk in the rut every single year in Colorado, also in Idaho. Every single year. It's not going to be easy. It's a lot of work. You have a bow in your hand. They live at the top of the mountain. They're in the rut, so they have tons of cows around them. But it's the most badass hunt you'll ever go on. You know what I mean? Like, you're in the high country. You're, sleeping and living off your back, and it's amazing.
Well, you also want to decide as well, you talk about the cows too. There's other opportunities. You don't have to, your first year, you don't have to go out and
there's female
chase
tags.
the bull.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's female
spike tags, female tags. There's so many opportunities. So that's part of what you're saying. okay, I've got to decide what's important to me, like you said, logistics.
That's number
costs,
one.
What
if you wanted to get started in hunting, the number one thing you have to do is figure out what's most important to you. Is it a species that you're just dreaming of, that like you don't care what you have to do? Okay, well that's it. Colorado, Idaho, great examples for elk. If it's logistics, pick the next closest state, and the best opportunity, which is usually a California guy, is either going to be over the counter in California, or it's going to be Cal elk tags in Nevada. You can draw some deer tags fairly easy in Nevada. Again, super hard work, but hard work is what makes it pay off in the end, right? It makes it you feel gratified afterwards.
If it was easy, we'd just call it grocery shopping.
Exactly. It's a lot of work, but that's why people love hunting. That's why we love hunting. And, him and I both, our favorite style of hunting, although he's in way better shape than me, is backpack hunting. He can hike a lot better than me, a lot faster than me, but I still love it. It's my favorite form of hunting by far, hands down, not even a question. So every year, I'm going to go on at least 1 or 2 backpack hunts because that's what's most important to me. Absolute most important. So I use Colorado for it mainly, Wyoming, because you can draw general Wyoming elk permits every 3 years, I guess. So you can draw them every 3 years now, like going hunting in the high country there. That's what's most important to me, and that's how I lay out my strategy. And then the other states, I earn bonus points for what's next most important. I like to kill big mule deer. I love to kill big mule deer, and that comes with investing in the states for the best units that offer the species, right? So, apply in Nevada for 5-10 years and draw a really good deer tag. That's kind of my strategy,
Like one of the biggest things too, I think too, like the shameless plug thing again, like the Colorado elk, like we lay it out so simple for a guy or a gal just trying to figure out how to hunt elk in Colorado. Like once you go on, the insider portion, you click on the filtering 2.0, you click on Colorado, and you select your species of elk. It's like we show you every single unit in Colorado you can hunt over the counter every single year. So you and I, it's very important to learn your hunting spot and learn it very well. Like you can go hunt one area one year and then jump over here in one area. It's like you didn't really learn a lot. You might have learned about elk habitat and movement, but you didn't know about elk habitat in this one little area. That's why it's great about the over-the-counter thing. You can keep repeating it over and over and over.
Exactly.
And it's so hard to kill an elk, but the more you go do it, the more chances you're going to have. You'll have all that filtering. It's going to show you all those units you can hunt over-the-counter elk. And then you can take on top of that, say, I want an archery over-the-counter elk, and then you want to have harvest success because you can adjust the slider to what's going to meet your criteria. I always describe it as like a choose-your-own-ending book. You can choose your own criteria you want to narrow it down to. And those tools, I think, are so powerful. They'll be like, okay, I want Colorado, I want elk, I want archery, and I want 20% harvest success. You can filter it over to find these are the units that have a higher population of elk, obviously, because more people are having really good success.
Exactly. And
it just gets you in the field more. And it's just like we were discussing the other day, it's crazy how much opportunity there is hunting in the West. Like when you add
There's
in all
too
these
much, really.
When you add in all these cows, all these antlerless hunts, all the over-the-counter stuff. It's like you
guaranteed tags.
You can pack your schedule up really fast. You're getting
crazy.
over the learning curve and being over not scared to jump in another state and learn something new.
And
that's
the other
what we
thing
try
too,
to show people.
I have a theory. I have a lot of theories. All the guys in the office know that I have theories on everything. But I do have a theory that I am truly stuck with. And I think it's if somebody wants to kill a good animal with a bow and wants to get going with it, like take Colorado, for example, you need to hunt the same unit 5 years in a row. If you hunt the same unit 5 years in a row, you are going to kill something very respectable, and you're going to be a very good hunter in that specific area. That's how long it takes to understand the area, the animal patterns of that area, everything about it, And so I'm a firm believer in a 5 year, the same place 5 years in a row, 3 years at least. But sometimes, I guess 3 years. But him and I, we always talk about shooting the biggest and the best. I think that's like a 5 year plan to get into a unit for 5 years straight and try to figure it out. So that's, if you're getting into it, those are the things you have to lay out as the strategy of what's most important, which to us is killing the biggest and the best, and that's a 5 year plan.
Okay, on that note, let's take just a minute to hear a word from one of my partners. All right, y'all, we all know there's folks out there who are successful year after year rocking a set of bargain bin Walmart camo. However, a full layering system of premium hunting clothes can make a huge impact on your comfort level when you're spending time deep in the backcountry and can really be the difference between going longer and harder or just going home. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I personally can't afford to drop $3,000 or even more on a full set of premium hunting gear. Now, that's why I'm excited to tell y'all about Scree Gear. Not only is Scree as capable and durable as any of the other premium lines out there, it also comes in at a price point that won't leave you too broke to put in for tags. Scree's patterns use the science behind perception and fractal concealment and have been designed by one of the foremost concealment experts out there. He's designed for militaries, law enforcement, and special forces in the US and around the world. Not only are their patterns incredibly versatile for any sort of terrain, but their layering systems allow you to pack a minimal amount of gear for maximum effect. So whether you're side-hilling across rocky debris in the baking desert sun or crawling over snow-covered deadfall high up in the frozen Rockies, Scree's versatile layering system has you covered. Literally. And if that's not enough, for that added layer of confidence, Scree offers an outfitter and military discount, a limited lifetime warranty on all their gear, and free returns on new gear until you find the perfect fit. Even better, you can get 10% off all orders from the Scree store by using code COUNTRY10. Check out that Scree discount along with discounts from other awesome outdoor companies by visiting my partners page at livingcountryinthecity.com/partners.
So now, you talk about, we kind of talked about, I want to hunt in the future.
Yep.
And I want to get these animals. I also want to hunt every year. And so there's over-the-counter opportunities. As far as building points in different states, what's kind of a good strategy for a beginner to think? Because, short of I'm gonna put in for every animal in every state, every year.
Yeah,
it's so expensive.
I can't remember what I broke down that article. What was it last year about the cost to apply in every Western state?
It was so much money.
I think it was you're fronting something like 25, 30 some grand to front it. You're gonna get everything back, but you'd lose $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
And
so it'll cost you out of your pocket in non-refundable fees $5,000, but it'll cost you in the 3.5 month process, you'll be out $30,000. Yeah. It's unbelievably expensive.
It's so expensive to fly in the West. That's why you need to figure out your core states you really want to go in. I'm a mule deer guy, so I'm just going to go with mule deers. So me, I'm always going to have my over-the-counter states. I always want to try to go to Idaho. I try to draw easy tags in Montana, but then also I want to have those 3 to 5 year plans. So I'm always okay, Wyoming's a state I need to go into because, it just typically has really great country, and I love hunting mountains. So I go based on scenery a lot of times and also big animals. I love that adventure aspect, so I'm the guy who I want to hunt high country in Colorado, I want to high country in Wyoming. So I dive into those states as my 3-5 year plan, and also I want to try to get into Utah maybe a little bit too, and just decide what's most important to me. Some years I, just buy points here, just buy points there because I want to fit my schedule really well. That's why it's important to figure out, okay, you're going to go on over-counter hunt, but you also want to have these states you're going to know you might draw in the back burner as
exactly.
You just need to figure out what country you like, what terrain you like to hunt in. That's what it all comes down to. If a guy just wants to say, I want to hunt Colorado, you're going to throw your name in a hat, and maybe you don't even like hunting the mountains. Mountains scare you to death. You want to hunt something that's a little lower country, and you need to research that ahead of time before you're starting to burn all your bonus points and draw these tags that you might not be able to turn back in too. So it's so complicated to figure out how to set up your plan and what you want to do with it.
And what we were talking about residency in the beginning of this, residency is the most important thing. Okay, you've never hunted before, you have your hunter safety, you want to go hunting. Well, if you're a Wyoming resident, congratulations, you have guaranteed mule deer and elk tag every year. Every single year. So you're off and running with whatever you want to do. You live in Colorado, there's guaranteed tags, not, in the primo units. It's going to be hard work, but there's guaranteed tags for mule deer and elk there as well, the over-the-counter elk, and then there's 0-point mule deer tags that they could draw no problem. If you live in Nevada, it's probably one of the harder ones.
Oh, yeah.
Nevada, Arizona, probably the harder ones. If you live in either of those states, you're looking at 2-3 years before you're hunting, right?
Yep.
Ish.
Now, especially this year.
Yeah, depending on what style you're looking for, you're looking at 2 or 3 years before you even have the chance to go hunting. Or you could travel to Colorado, where there's out-of-state, non-resident over-the-counter opportunities. Idaho, which is the same. Wyoming, which is 1 or 2 points to draw an elk tag. You have to start looking at other states. If you're a resident of a state that doesn't have guaranteed tags to locals, you got to start looking elsewhere, and that's what we do. Mm-hmm. If you're from California, you have over-the-counter opportunities. They're not, like you said, they're not great, but they're fun. Oh, yeah. They're really fun. You live close to, if you're LA, you're close enough to Idaho, I guess, to make it a day trip, to take a day, drive, hunt for 3 days, come home, you're gone for a week.
Yeah, it's about with gas stops and the amount I have to make in my Jeep, it ends up being about 16 to 20 hour drive. So
that's a long time. Maybe
it's a bit rough, but I was doing January in Arizona. That's a 5-hour drive, over the counter, archery tags. I'm the biggest preacher of these tags in the world now after doing them, because they're good for so long.
That's actually a good point.
Throughout the year.
Forgot about that. I was thinking about like draw tags in Arizona. Arizona does have out non-resident and resident opportunities for guaranteed archery tags late season for mule deer and coos deer. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's like a
lots of good
slightly
opportunities.
hidden gem that's now becoming a little more popular. It's a great opportunity. Like,
you can hunt some of the best units in Arizona, and obviously you got to be shooting a bow. That's not for everyone.
Yeah. But again, you can hunt it every single year and learn it, which is the best part about it.
Especially if you're already putting in for those points, you got to have that license. You're already spending $160.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well make that $160 worth it. Get a tag that you can hunt in January, August, and December.
And not to make things even more confusing, but also part of the strategy before going hunting, you got to figure out what kind of weapon you're comfortable with.
Yep.
If it's gun, well, really Idaho is the only one that has over-the-counter gun opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, for the most part. So you're really stuck to one place if you don't want to hunt with a bow.
And, it's some people, like sometimes I look at it and I'm like, you know what, I like being forced in one direction because it gets me to focus.
It gets you dialed down.
I'm one of these people that's all over the place, and I see something, I get distracted, and I'm like, oh, look, Aoudad, what?
Yeah.
Apparently I need to start applying for another animal. Yeah. Like, well, what's that, New Mexico? I didn't think I was going to apply for you this year,
Yeah.
And it's and so sometimes it is kind of nice to be forced in a direction, and but yeah, it's very. I've talked with a lot of people, and they kind of got me on the whole, okay, you find your spot you can hunt every year. And like you were saying, you want to hunt that often in that same unit if you can, so you can learn it and you can make the most out of it. Because, you go to a new spot every year, you spend your first 3, 4, 5 days. You spend the first 75% of your hunt scouting, basically.
Absolutely.
And then, especially, as a non-resident, someone that I've got limited vacation time, and I want to spend that hunting.
Yeah.
So I'm, maybe I can get out for a long weekend or something. Fly out, rent a car, drive, make sure there's no gates, whatever it is. But then you got your 3 to 5 year opportunities. I think I'm doing Idaho for my every year. I think I'm putting in for Wyoming elk for like my 3 to 5, and then of course Arizona for the big ones.
Yep.
It's a great thought process.
Yeah, so that's what's nice to lay out all the states. Look on the GoHunt and on Insider, put all the fees next to it. What's going to cost you to apply? What's it going to do? And figure out what you want to aspire towards. You want to be the guy. Get your over-the-counter tags. You want to get those draw tags too. It's
using our product, you're going to know exactly what it's going to take to go hunting.
So
down to the penny.
Try to get people out in the field more. That's what it's all about. Is getting you comfortable to take the leap and jump to a new state and try something new and
just get started. And I think a good takeaway too for somebody who's getting started, for whatever reason, there's this massive overarching theme in hunting of self-branded or whatever badass hunters try to intimidate everybody out of their spots or out of their states, and they're the end-all be-all know-it-alls. I guarantee you ask them a question about a state 2 borders away, and they'll have no clue what's going on there. And it's this weird theme. So it's hard to get a network of hunting. And we understand how hard that is to find good networks of people who are willing to give you information, because there's this, like I said, this overarching theme of they don't want to share. They want to tell you don't do it. They're going to make it as difficult as possible for you to get into their state or, their spot or whatever. It's public land. It's a beautiful thing about the United States. It's public land, public animals, and the states allow us to go harvest them for our own well-being, which is amazing. So for somebody who's getting started, it's important to know, there is no one out there that knows all of this. The only thing that knows all of this is our computer, our back-end database computer. Us, we get asked a question, very first thing we do is go straight to our computer. Oh, yeah.
Well, let's pull up GoHunt.
You guys always ask me
and we live it and breathe it every single day, and we still can't rattle something off the top of our head, It's crazy.
No, it's definitely it is definitely a tool that I have really come to rely on on a regular basis. I mean, and you hear this you hear this on all the podcasts anytime anyone's talking about GoHunt, is it ruins your productivity when you're at work. And I was talking. I think I was talking with you guys earlier. You need a product feature where you have GoHunt. There's a big red button in the upper right hand corner, and you go tap that button, and it flips the website and looks like an Excel document. So you can sit there and it looks like just hit the button. No, I'm working. I'm working. But I spent a lot of time in it.
You can dive into so many different weeds on there, like especially when you're trying to figure out, like I was saying, like you overlay the harvest stats on there, and now we can overlay the public land percent too, so you can find a guy who wants a ton of public land. Because you can look into Wyoming right now. We were talking about this the other day about antelope with Randy Newberg. You can go on there like, I could draw this tag 100% with 1 point, but it's like, what's the public land that unit? It's like, actually you slide that over, and that only had 17% public land that unit. So people are like, I can draw these tags, but like really you can draw them, but could you hunt them? No.
Exactly.
Most likely not. So like, just diving in the weeds and GoHunt's is fun. Like we just go on there sometimes and just mess with all the tools. Like you can find some crazy stuff. It's
kind of funny because I look at that and I think I sit and I have these moments where I'm like, okay, this is a good spot, but then I'm like, now everyone's gonna see this is a good spot. Do you guys get a lot of people that are sitting there getting after you because like, you're making it accessible to everyone now? It's not.
I mean, yes and no. We're actually spreading. We're spreading the concentration of hunters. Yeah. Where before the networks, when you got on the little networks, they all had their spots, right? These units and states are giant. There's a lot of animals in them. So we believe truly that we've done the best job of spreading hunter concentration out so hunts are more enjoyable. People are in different units now in different places and have a lot more space to move around.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess you make a good point where it used to be like, okay, you hear about this one unit, word will get out, so-and-so killed a giant bull in here, and so that's the only way people are hearing about these quality units or seeing what's available, and so that gets blown out.
Turn around back to Montana. It's like everyone back in the day used to always talk about the top draw districts in Montana. Yeah. Like none of us knew about all the crazy, like general over-the-counter stuff, in southeast Montana, central Montana. It's like 'cause everyone always was focused on the biggest, the best animals, but none of us can draw those tags. Like we don't have max bonus points in every state. Like I just want to know where I can go every year with my dad and my brothers and go hunt deer and have fun. It's like, show me an opportunity. That's what we're going to do. Show you opportunity right now. That's why with our analyst draw odds, like showing people more opportunity. It's like now you can go out. I can pick up a cow elk tag on my deer hunt and, get more meat in my freezer. It's big win-win. I mean,
exactly. It's great.
I'm already driving out there. Like I might as well pick up another tag and have a little more fun while I'm doing it.
Exactly.
But crazy amount of opportunity.
Yeah.
So to kind of summarize, we're looking at you gotta looking to draw tags. You're looking to start hunting. You got to pick what's important to you. You got to pick what you're comfortable with, whether that's landscape, whether that's a weapon, whether you got to look at towards the future. Look what you want to do now, but look what you want to do eventually. Yeah. What else am I missing here?
Honestly, I think that's it. Make sure you're sound in your information so you know what you're doing, first of all, because you can waste a lot of time and a lot of money. And then from that, what's most important with weapon choice, most important with logistics, with species, all those things, be able to look 3 years into the future, and you're going to have a solid plan of what's going on. Yep. Solid plan.
Awesome. So now we've been talking about GoHunt. Where do people find GoHunt?
www.gohunt.com. You don't even need to put the W's in there.
It's really tough to find.
Yep. Yeah.
And GoHunt on Instagram, Facebook, all of the above.
Exactly.
So, what's the cost for GoHunt?
$149 a year.
$149 a year.
But then it's just, we could talk another 2 hours on the value that's in it, whether it's giveaways or points earned on gear bought with us and all these different things. But it's a value add program is how we see it. The membership is $149, but then it just keeps getting added on with more and more value.
And that's what I was going to ask. If you guys just really quick touch on some of the other awesome stuff that comes with it, like those monthly giveaways, and talk just a quick run through the gear shop.
We have the most aggressive monthly giveaways in the industry by far. Our gear shop, we have a very good curated gear shop for honestly people who are just getting into hunting. We have everything you would need to go on your first hunt. Whether we specialize in gear and technology, obviously with our online program, and sleeping pads, backpacks, sleeping bags, all those essentials for living in the backcountry and living while hunting. That's what we specialize in. We give points back to our members based on how much they spend. It's just direct store credit. So basically, the more you buy, the more you get for free. It's a solid program for our insiders. And then him and Trail specialize in writing application articles, basically saying, like, here's your strategy. If you have 1 point, here's your strategy. If you have 5 points, here's your strategy. So again, this podcast is a good example of like talking through these things, but then these guys write massive long form articles on here's everything you need to know. And that comes with membership, is being able to read those for every single state, every single species.
That's awesome. So anything else coming down the line that you can tell us about?
Not that we can tell you about, but yeah, there's always stuff coming down the line, but we just can't tell you about it yet.
Oh,
well,
man, it's going to be great.
One thing I always like to end with, once again, this is, we've touched on a lot of it, but this is for new hunters, folks that just may not have a background in hunting, someone from the city that feels like they don't have access to it, whatever that may be. Someone comes up to you and says, Brady, Lorenzo, I really want to get into the outdoors. I really want to get into hunting, but it's too overwhelming. It's like, GoHunt's great, but that's drawing tags and learning about that's just one aspect.
Yeah.
What encouragement or words of advice would you give that person?
I mean, just try to jump over the hurdle and, just trying new things is always what I think is really fun about hunting and like getting out there. It's like, maybe if you're not totally into hunting yet, but just want to go backpack with a hunter, like, the backpacking part to me about hunting is probably one of my funnest parts. Like getting out there,
so
testing
pure.
yourself.
I love it.
And then you add, you watch what these people are doing on hunting, and you say, hey, I could probably put a tag in my pocket too, and just learning from them first, like going with them and learning all the ropes. Like that's the biggest thing. It's like do that way before you're going to try to start drawing tags. Like go with someone else who knows what they're doing, and just have fun with them. And it's like you will learn so much about yourself, about what you're capable of doing, just like grinding it out every single day, and then to realize, wow, what hunters do, that's tough. Like I could get into that, It's like I think people need to realize that it's a fun sport to be in. It's a fun sport to learn about, be a part of. It's just diving in there first, though. That was the hardest part, like getting over that,
Exactly. The hardest part about doing something is doing something. That's the hardest part.
Yep.
Just get started. Whatever way it is, if you look stupid, so be it.
Oh, I know all about that.
Yeah.
I know all about that.
I think that is a lame excuse for keeping yourself out of something that is as unbelievable as hunting.
I mean, that's so key right there. That's, I think, why people don't do anything these days. They're, especially with all the social media, everything's so much more public now.
Yep. Yeah. It looks a lot easier.
Like, I mean, when we were kids, could you imagine if the stuff we did
Absolutely.
ever got publicized? It's like that one photo that your mom has in the shoebox is representative of a whole span of things.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's just the fear of being embarrassed or looking silly or stupid.
Yeah.
That's why I love doing this podcast, is it gives me a chance to.
It's a good thing.
Look silly for people.
Well, it's a good thing, and there's a lot of people that want to go hunting. There is. We hear it all the time. There's a lot of people that want to go. They just don't know what to do.
Maybe that's why the PETA people are so angry. Like you're saying, they all want to go hunting. They just hate themselves for it. They're just angry.
Anyways, thanks for having us on.
No, thank you guys so much
Appreciate
for
it.
taking the time. I know it's going to start getting pretty busy here over the next few hours, so I appreciate you sitting down with me.
Absolutely.
We only scratched the surface.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
We did. But, yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome,
Thanks.
guys.
Hey, thanks again.
Thanks.
All right, y'all, that'll do it for episode 59 of Living Country in the City. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you check out the show notes page at livingcountryinthecity.com/59. You get links to GoHunt and both Lorenzo and Brady's pages. Go check them out, give them a little bit of love, but in the meantime, keep it country, y'all.
Thank y'all for listening to Living Country in the City. Get show notes and check out the blog, product reviews, events, and more at livingcountryinthecity.com.